Oops. Glove. So you use a piece of paper to set all the fat on. Could use a piece of paper to set all the bird trim on. Just to toss it out into the compost pile, but yeah, let's do that. See how that works. Just instead of a bin or a pot that even if it's easy to clean, you still have to clean it, and look at there. Save the end piece of the last roll. Should be perfect for us to build our little pile of not really good for the grinder trim. It just mucks up the holes and wraps around the blades of the grinder. We're listening to Cody Sanchez podcast with the guy who started Tom's Shoes and a bunch of other stuff. Turn off this fan too. Oops. Oops.
Yeah. I love that because it's a we bootstrap all of our companies. Yeah. And I kind of think the same thing. It's like, you put a bunch of fuel on a fire that's going the wrong direction.
What do you mean? What does bootstrap mean to her? She's rich.
Now, through multiple exits, selling a business for 50% of a $600 valuation, multiple businesses you started that you're like, that was such a lie that they told me starting out in business, and now I know this to be the truth.
I think one of the things is that I don't think that having experience in an industry makes you more likely to have success. Because when you have experience, you kind of know the rules, so you don't have like the courage to break them. And you're limited. You already start with a set of beliefs that are limiting
outside
the innovation that you would have.
Perspective.
Like I started cable television, no experience in that. Driver's ed company, zero experience in that. Tom's, obviously, I'd never made a pair of shoes before. I was in Argentina, enough. I mean, now, I've never made bracelets and accessories. So I actually think that's one of the biggest lies we're told is small businesses or entrepreneurs is that you need to have experience. And then the second thing
get experience
is that once you grow and you get to a certain size, you need experts. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit. I mean, literally, the number of people that I brought in to Tom's later, once we were a couple $100 million business, that quote had big company expertise, did not help. If anything, it affected the culture in a negative way, caused more complexity. They want to bring their own systems in, their own teams. It created way more overhead than we ever needed. So you don't need a lot of experience to start, and if anything, having experience might limit your innovative thinking. And then if you are lucky enough to build something that really starts scaling, and they start telling you you need to bring in this expertise, I don't think it's true. And I think my sister is a great example of that. My sister, runs Aviator Nation, and she owns 100% of the company. Has never brought in quote the experts.
Oh, wait, Aviator Nation?
A small group of really passionate people built an incredible brand.
Yeah. What did your parents?
Is that the magazine?
Why are you both so successful? That's so great. I mean,
and my brother too. My brother has my brother has an amazing online golf company called My Golf Club, and basically it allows people to get by far the lowest prices of any golf equipment on the internet. It's through a membership model, and so he hasn't been as well known in the media, but he's also crushing it.
What do you attribute that to? What is it? Parenting or genetics?
Yeah, my parents were always just if you can believe it, just go do it. We didn't have any fear growing up of failure. And I think maybe because we grew up, my dad was a doctor, my mom was an author, she did very well, he did well. We had a nice safety net. So a lot of people don't have it. A lot of people don't have the luxury of just going for it. But also I just think from a psychological perspective, our parents were always instilling confidence in us and always, encouraging us to really go for what we believe in.
Can you remember a moment where it really made you who you are as a kid because of what your parents did? Were there moments where you?
My mom basically put my dad through medical school, and then years later, I think I was 15 at the time. My sister was 11. My brother was 7. she decided she wanted to write a cookbook. And she was like, you know what? I have this idea for this cookbook. I think it'll help a lot of people lose weight. It's about cutting the fat out. It's good for your heart. This whole thing.
That's bad though.
Didn't go to college. I had no experience writing books. Like my dad bought her a word processor at Walmart, and she wrote this book, and it became the #1 best-selling cookbook in America.
Come on, that's
in 3 years.
crazy, dude.
And she made millions of dollars.
The
Just
CIA.
like, just do things.
Yeah, it's just do things. The thing, just like we have an idea, just try it.
Just do it.
And so I think that really
That's what I do.
created that entrepreneurial spirit in my brother and my sister and I.
Yeah. You know, and you've told me, even just our short time hanging out here, a bunch of stories about how you get people to get excited about a product or business without having a bunch of cash, which I love. So, like, I want to talk about, you were talking about 2 companies you're interested in right now. And one of them, you're like, you know how we're gonna get everybody into this? And then you told me your strategy. Can you tell them the strategy for the chair company?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the best things to do for a company is to try to find a way to be integrated into natural conversations. And it's also it's also this thing that Seth Godin, the great marketing genius who I love, you know, he writes about the purple cow. And the purple cows is like, if you're driving down the highway and you're looking at cows and then you see a purple one, you're going to stop. You're going to take a picture of it. You're going to tell everyone. So it's got to be remarkable. So first off, when you're starting business, like, the more your product itself can be remarkable, but then it's like, how do we naturally integrate it into our conversations?
It's the only lip balm on the planet that's even an actual balm.
PVOT.
Whoa.
Okay, so Pivot Chair, these guys are engineers from Nike. They're there for 30 years, and they realize that sitting is the new smoking. Like we were way too sedentary. And so they developed a chair that has, it's the only chair in the world.
It looks like a chair, but you gotta stand.
So it moves this way and it moves this way. And so when you sit in the pivot chair, if you're not prepared, you'll fall over. But if you're prepared and you engage your core,
Just sit on a yoga ball. You are so
and it's
ridiculous.
like the most amazing experience ever. You sit in it all day. It's not like it makes you sore, but it engages you enough.
Just sit on a yoga ball.
Everyone's looking to count stats, right?
Come on,
And so
that is
what I
obscene.
to them was like, guys, like, because we're getting ready to do an investment round, the company launches in July, and I said, no, I think the only people we have invest in this next round are podcast hosts, because they sit in a chair a big part of the day, and then their guests sit in the chair, and so rather than them have to like do an ad about it, just have the guests sit there.
I had my guests sit on yoga balls.
What the fuck am I sitting in? And then naturally we gotta talk about like why this is so good for us.
On
And
your
so
toes.
that's an example of like taking something that might be hard to explain, and that's when you need lots of money for marketing and advertising, and just letting someone experience it in an environment is naturally going to get people talking about it. And so that's, and instead of like we have no marketing budget for that company, we don't need it because it's just people sit in it, they won't.
How do you come up with like
Get
tools
real,
like
dude.
this? Just creativity. Like, do you have a creative process?
I think the creative process is I just love people.
Like
I love
indica.
talking to people, meeting strangers, I love asking people what you think. I love playing pranks on people. Like, I mean, just anything to do with people. And I feel like the more I'm around people, the more
Golden
ideas
teachers
get.
to produce great results.
Sitting in an office trying to figure it out, or like having endless Zoom calls, because everyone's posturing, whatever. Like, it's actually like, let's just get out there and mess with it. Like, for instance, when I launched the Enough bracelet, what I did was I just started giving it.
I just try stuff and it works, and I'm like, oh no.
Not feeling enough.
I got something else to do.
Like a daily reminder for me, and I just love for you to have
Not like
and just
rather than, but in addition to.
your life helps you really put out.
Oh no.
I start opening my mom. Okay, here's one for you.
Thank
Go
you,
get
Lord.
one. So like, and then we have all these ideas about that, and then that leads to, well, what if every person that receives one now has a little code on the packaging where they can scan it and send one to someone else? So what a great marketing idea, right? Like everyone that wears a bracelet is also a giver of a bracelet, and now it just goes
It's Tom's with bracelets. No.
on the street, like passing out bracelets.
Dude.
It's such a good point.
I'm gonna be beef jerky for homeless veterans.
What's going to happen? Well, somebody takes
Sorry,
us away from
outdoorsman.
And one of the things that I think
Veteran
last
outdoorsman.
we talk about, which is really taste and creativity. And so, like, you're obviously a guy with taste. You're like, cool dress. Yeah, you got all that stuff. Tom's was like, one of the first
Styling.
cool shoe companies I remember.
Thank you.
And so I guess my question for you there is like, does everybody have taste? Can you develop taste as an entrepreneur? Can you hire people
No, I ain't born
with
and
taste?
raised with taste, no.
I definitely think you can hire people with taste. Like, I feel like when I'm meeting with someone, I kind of know if they got it or they don't.
How can you tell?
Just their personal style choices, their
Attention to detail, yes!
I mean, as silly as that sounds,
Unbelievable.
even to that to some degree, I mean, it's gotten a little bit harder because everyone is so
I put out a job
focused,
app,
everyone kind of
like
follows
description
what everyone's doing. But originally,
for
early
rappers, no mention of cutting whatsoever, and I had people freaking respond verbatim. Hey, I'm responding to your apple cured pork chop cutting position.
you know, look at their camera roll. You know, it's like, what are they actually taking
You've got
pictures
to be
of?
kidding me.
And if they're taking pictures of like cool architecture or like a really cool restaurant or whatever, even if they're not posting it, it's like that's how you can kind of see what is someone thinking about, you know? And I think a lot of taste is also about curiosity. Like taste, I don't necessarily think. Actually, I would change this.
That's
I
a cool
care more
interview
about
tactic.
someone
Can I
having
scroll through your
style
pictures?
than taste. And I don't care if it's my style or not.
Yeah.
Like they can be hardcore cowboy, great. But if they lean into it and like that's them, I respect it. You know, or they're really into, you know, vintage cameras. And like that's their thing. And they've got
Cool.
this camera and they tell you exactly about it and why they got this leather strap and what this viewfinder does. Like that's a sense of style. Whereas taste can be a little bit kind of like following whatever's cool in the moment. But I'm
No,
interested in
that's
style.
not true.
That tells me independent thinking. That tells me curiosity. That tells me confidence. They don't care if everyone else has their style. You know? So I think that's something that's a little bit more interesting to look at when you're looking to hire someone. Because if someone has a specific sense of style, I think that that can be applied to other styles. So like if they're very specific in their personal style, then
It's almost
they
time
can
to pull
figure out
jerky.
what is the right style and how we want to, you know, merchandise or stack these bracelets.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, it's funny. I was actually talking to David, my podcast producer, because I was like, I gotta get a little bit more swag. Like I was like too serious, you know, because I'm ex-finance, and he is known for putting things publicly. Sometimes you paint your nails, now the internet knows.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, and
I made my nails before.
see, I was like, David, I don't know about that. I was like, I don't know if that's what we. And he was like, listen, bud, you gotta get cool. You gotta get on my level.
I painted my nails every day. Well, the reason I did it is for years I was trying to stop biting my fingernails.
Okay, that's reasonable.
And so I thought if I paint them pink and green and all these random colors, then it like brings like a conscious attention to them. And if I have attention to them, I'm not going to want to hurt them.
Yeah.
It didn't really work as well. But it did make my kids think I was like super embarrassing, which ultimately that's why I stopped doing it. Because my daughter was cool when she was like 4 and 5, and we went to get manicures. Now that she's 8, it's like
Oh,
5
God.
nails. I'm not invited to any school assemblies.
Jeez.
And these big businesses you
What a
started.
bitch.
Nobody, I don't think, knows that you started. And so I want to talk about it in a couple different ways. One, I want to talk about Easy Laundry, which you
Great.
on.
First business.
Yeah, tell me about the business. How much money did you start?
Oh,
it
those
with, and what happened?
businesses.
$500. I broke
Oh,
my
get it out
broke
of
my
there.
I tore my Achilles tendon. I was a tennis player in college. I was on crutches. So all of a sudden, I couldn't carry my laundry to the laundry facility, which is at the bottom of the dormitory. So my laundry is piling up. I can't carry it down. My roommate's kind of giving me a hard time. We go home for Thanksgiving. His dad was an entrepreneur. I didn't know what the word entrepreneur was at this point, right? My dad's a doctor. My grandbrother's a doctor. My uncle's a doctor.
He was gonna be
My
a
aunt's a nurse. Like, my whole family's
I bet.
and
Yes, he
his
did.
dad, we were talking about the fact that I couldn't do my laundry, and he said, well, you should just have someone, you know.
Laundry service
figure
come
out.
pick it
I
up
was
and
like,
do it
I looked
later.
at the yellow pages. This is how it works, right?
This is what it is. So yeah, so that means you're supposed to do it. It's called a sign.
I told him, I was like, I looked at the yellow pages, there's no fucking people to pick up my laundry, no one will do it. He's like, that sounds like a business opportunity. I'm like, well, what? He's like, I'm a jock, I'm just a pure tennis player, that's all I do. And he's like, I think you guys should start a laundry business. And I was like, he's like, yeah, people, I went to a school, SMU in Dallas, a lot of rich kids. And so he's like, I think you charge a lot of money for this. So literally, we go back, we buy a FedEx truck for $500.
Damn.
I mean, like, literally, it doesn't
Beat her.
work. We had to get the engine replaced, but like the shell of an old FedEx a junkyard, buy the rush. We paint on the side, EZ Laundry.
Awesome.
Red and blue.
That's
And
so
we
good.
decided to start going around to fraternities and sororities and like pitching our services.
For sure.
Now, I've never even done my own laundry. My family grew up very
God
sheltered.
damn,
My mom
that's so fucked
was
up.
a homemaker. So like I'm like now figuring out how to like hire people to do laundry in the middle of the night at these places, and we just figured it out.
for
It's
you,
amazing.
dude.
I was like 17, 18 years old.
Wow.
How'd you sell it?
It sucks doing your laundry, and like and so you know, you face this, we'll come pick it up.
By hand, not when there's machines. You gotta be kidding me.
And I really
Anyway,
hope this one takes this
anyway.
podcast. This is like such an incredible, my first, most important lessons of marketing. So we had this great service for, you know, I don't know how much it was. I'd say $20 a week. We'll do all your laundry for you, okay?
Oh yeah, we're forever doing it on paper. No more bins. This is too easy.
We went to fraternity sororities. First off, the sororities were like, we're not giving you our pants today. Like, this is the last thing. They don't do it.
I got this.
Yeah, exactly. This is just, and then the guys
This will go outside. This.
I mean, just the kids who needed it weren't the customers. But who was
Will
it?
get wrapped.
Parents. And the parents who were the most
I'm loving
was the
my new,
incoming freshmen.
my newest
No laundry services for
paper towel
we go home
holder.
this summer, we're thinking about maybe weddings just not working.
Yeah, getting so organized.
At orientation for the next year.
Wish that's just kind of trash area.
$1,000 worth of laundry services. Because the parents assume when they got there. It's nuts. I dropped out of college. Never went back to this fucking mall. Because of laundry.
Jeez, that is so crazy.
We just had
The right niche to the right customer.
even though the kids are the ones who are benefiting from, I don't know why, they weren't the ones that were thinking they
I
want to
need
spend
this.
$20 on it.
I
They don't have
need
so much money for beer or whatever.
the long one.
And I just bought the
And these are the nice ones for the display case. Because these ones are all beat up.
make sure they don't ruin your clothes. $100,000 in sales, 3 days. Next day I call my dad, drop out of college.
Jeez Louise. I'm gonna have to rewind. This piece of paper keeps the pan clean. I like it being a little longer so I don't get the pan even a little bit dirty underneath. Oops, out there where you touch it. But this hand will be clean for the most part. I'm gonna get a longer piece so we can keep this pan clean and reuse it and not even have to clean it. I wasn't thinking about that. Oh yeah, that's way better. And now we slide it to there. And get the
What the in-app race has been really fun is, and I know you're referencing it, make sure what I'm talking about, but the thing is like, it's really about utility of life. So it's not even the fashion of my kids maybe benefiting right pitch to the right customer. So sometimes you have the best idea, you're just selling the wrong person. And it wasn't the kids, even though the kids are the ones who are benefiting.
this.
For, I don't know why, they weren't the ones who were thinking they want to spend $20 on it when they only have so much money for beer or whatever. But their parents are thinking, my kids maybe never done their laundry, or they have, and they don't do a great job. And I just bought the books for, $900. Might as well spend $500 a semester to make sure they don't ruin their clothes. And boom, $100,000 in sales, 3 days. Next day I call my dad,
100,000.
drop out of college, and everything.
So smart. That's true because these days I feel like people overcomplicate marketing so much. They're like the demographic, the avatar, the analysis. Right.
Yeah, good time.
I just made some really heavies already. I put this on Instagram the other day. There are like 4 people that work for me in marketing and Tom Street. Yeah, really. $1 business, you hate marketing, go home.
But it's true, because
I
it's
just
like,
don't like the formal concept of marketing. I think when you're trying to like concoct a way to convince or manipulate
Find a
someone to buy
niche
something,
that you
it's just it's
fill,
not
and it
what
works.
I'm about. Like it's like no, we were giving something where you just once again right place, right time, right? It goes back to the chair. Like the chair, we get the right people sit in it in an environment where a lot of people see their amazing kind of remarkable experience. It'll spread like wildfire.
what do you call that? Like, have you named that? Is that like trigger point marketing? Is it like, because I think it's a really useful framework for people to think, as opposed to, you know, oh, I spend X percentage of my revenue on PPC with Zuckerberg, you know?
I think it's like showing utility. I mean, even with the enough bracelet has been really fun. Is and I know you're referencing it eventually. We'll have to talk about it. But the thing is like it's really about utility of like. So it's not even the fashion of it, or it's not even like that will raise a bunch of money for sell charities. It's like what does this actually do for someone?
Whoa.
And so yeah. So anyways, I've just launched this, and it came from my own journey. And after I sold Tom's, I got super depressed.
$300 million, and they got depressed. Oh yeah, but he sold out.
I sold it. Okay, once I sold it, I have all this money, all this freedom. I can live in the mountains. I'm gonna be so happy.
Yay.
And it wasn't.
Oh.
And I was like, oh shit. Like I built like what I think is the perfect company.
Oh no, I'm not
$1 billion.
useful for anything anymore. Oh
I made more
no.
money than I ever could imagine.
Your friends with all this love.
Everyone is, every single thing. I mean, covers of every magazine for a while. Like, and I felt empty. And I felt like
Oh, no.
I didn't really like know what the second half of my life would be like. And the depression got worse and worse.
Way richer?
So,
Oh.
we talked about got
Yeah,
really bad a couple years ago.
Jeez.
And part of my
Yeah,
healing
such a
journey, my therapist really helped me see that underneath all of it was this fear, this belief that I'm not enough. And it started when I was young, and I tried to feel enough by winning tennis matches, then I tried to feel enough by starting businesses, and I started a business that would help people, but no matter what I did, how much success I had, I just never felt that I was enough. And then after I did everything that the world tells you to make you feel enough, and I still didn't feel enough, that's when the depression, because it was like I didn't know where else to turn, which ultimately forced me to go inward and learn me and help me really realize and heal this idea that I'm enough, you're enough, we're all enough.
I'm enough. He's enough. She's enough. We're all enough. Hey. That's a good burger song. Oh no. You couldn't just remember those phrases in your head? Hell no. Seize the day. Every day.
Most people aren't going to get that tattoo, so why don't you create something that everyone can participate in?
Okay.
And if you like bracelets, why don't you make a bracelet? So went to
I
India,
like
got these
bracelets.
bracelets are handmade by women in India. And the idea is it's just a daily reminder, just to look down. That's it. I'm enough. I've always been enough.
Sorry, dude. Not useful. I need some screw seal. Super useful. Lips, knuckles, fingertips. It actually works. Feel good about using it. Feel good about why it's made. Feel good about how it's made. Feel good about using it. Amen.
Is, that it helps remind you, but the utility of this for someone else can be different. So for instance, 100% of the profits from enough goes to
And it's not,
so a lot of people I know that are wearing
what are they called? Things that get used up. It's a type of good. It's not a durable good. It's a soft good. Bracelets are hard goods. Selling soft goods is more like a service. More repeatable.
And so, yes, I talk to my story and I share other people's enough stories, but also I
He should know this from selling shoes. I bet he sold bunches of pairs to the same customers. Damn.
teaser
I can't believe he has $300 million.
So when you buy one
So
for yourself,
crazy.
you're given one. You get to wear the first one, then you get to think, who do you want, who in your life?
You know, I'm just some guy here rubbing down meats late at night. The night before being here for the next 5 days to sell it all. So
Utility does the
What do I know? I'm just I'm a real idiot.
What utility does the pivot share do?
He's the 100 millionaire.
One have back pain and one what utility did the laundry business do for those parents? The utility wasn't even the clean clothes. The utility was the peace of mind.
It's so true.
So think about utility.
He's so full of shit, dude.
Sorry. One of my favorites. I actually started my entire business with a newsletter. Literally sending emails built my entire business from 0 to 9 figures in 4 years, which is
Damn.
So
Damn.
I would recommend you one thing. You start a newsletter. Write about anything in the world that you're curious about. Your business, your customers, your ideas. And my friend Tim Ferriss is on Beehive, and he writes an email each Friday, literally only about his 5 favorite things. I actually switched all of my newsletters to Beehive because I wanted to grow, and so they help me see where my audience comes from, who reads, how to send.
I'm gonna fit all 4 of these briskets on this one pan.
And then the growth tools.
Sometimes I can only fit 2, sometimes 3.
So it recommends my
These are
newsletter.
like 2 big, 1 medium, 1 little.
Finding readers I've never even would have reached. Now, I'm obsessed with this team. The founder, Tyler, is literally the most relentless, mission-driven founder. Just like Blake, actually. He's the most relentless one I've ever worked with. It's fascinating to watch their team. They ship product and features and solve every issue that I have come up. In fact, these little wizards just spun up a new landing page for me in 2 days because my other one was terrible. So if you want to share your ideas with the world and make money on it, go to beehive.com/Cody and use code Cody30. You'll get 30% off for 3 months. That's beehive.com/Cody for code
Sounds
Cody30.
expensive.
Also, drop your newsletters on Beehive. When you start them in the comments, I want to see what you guys are writing. I'm looking for new ideas and brilliant people. I'm hoping more people like you get into this game with newsletters because it very simply changed my entire life. Again, that's Beehive with 2 E's, 2 I's, no 30. What, you guys will figure this out. Beehive, once you-
Yeah. Be better hitters.
Why don't you comment for us? And I'll pick one and send it to you, and then we can give them a response.
I love making videos.
BEE. Hi IV. Oh wait, hi IV. Whatever. They created this problem for themselves to figure out.
I was on the CBS show with Gail King like a decade ago. Let me just make a video. Like, trust me. Hey Gail, it's Blake. 10 years ago, you helped me launch Dom's. I'm launching it now. I'd love to come on the show. What do you think? Sure enough, we launched it with Gail King. Like, sometimes it's simple.
Man, that's cheating. Simplest thing is already having done it before and knowing people who've done it so you can do it again. But what about the first part?
No, because this is something that I feel so grateful for in my life right now. So when I was building Tom's, you talked about celebrities involved. We had a lot of celebrities, a lot of people supporting Tom's. But I felt so much pressure whenever I would go to a meeting or pitch someone like really rare shoes or whatever, because my personal identity was
Like, are you full of shit or are you for real?
So every rejection, which you're going to get a lot of rejections as an entrepreneur, was like personally painful. So it caused me stress, anxiety, all these things. Now, because I really do feel I'm enough, whether you like the bracelet, whether they like the bracelet, whether anyone likes the bracelet, I know that there's someone this is really going to reach and it's going to touch them. That now I have no problem asking anyone anything, because if they say no, it's no big deal. Because it's not my personal identity, it's whether they like it or they say yes or whatever. And so
This is middle part knee rub. I only put 9 months of my trial and error, thoughts and sweat and tears. I'm just kidding. Hope you like it. If you don't, hell out. Oof. Pause. Skip. Fast forward. Alright, sweet. Let's go cut these.
You know what's cool? I don't think, I mean, I just learned this. Like, you can go in and sign up for their premium thing and see every single agent.
IMDb. We got an editor in our club who might be the editor for our YouTube channel. I don't know if he needs work or not. But got a professional in the club. What a beautiful thing. Oh dear, don't drop these. He's such a nightmare. It's gotta be close to time to pull the first level of jerky out, too. It's gotta fix the door on this trailer. All the dust and leaves and stuff go in here. Yeehaw. One hour 54 left. It's at 180 degrees. It was probably at temp 189. Oops. It's basically making sure they're not touching and ideally not going to want to fall over onto each other, but sometimes the big weird wonky middle pieces will do that, and I put the thinner pieces underneath where they'll catch the juices of the fattier ones up top. Juices and the spices. These little guys up here. Man, sometimes 3 briskets is more meat than this. Kind of weird pieces. Sometimes I'll set these over off to the edge so they can fall into the rocker hanging arm there. So both of them. Drained the smoker several times, but I need to scoop out all the soot, burnt drippings. They're super smoky, so you can make liquid smoke out of that stuff, but I don't really want to do that personally. If I want it to be smoky, then I'll just smoke it. What's going on? A lot of spice. Let's go. Should be able to fit another one there, but whatever, it doesn't even matter. Still gotta go to the next rack, so we'll go to the next rack. Let's clean that one off too. man. This because it's so tasty. You just eat this by itself. Not like a ton of it, but that's how I do the taste test. Is can you eat the rub by itself, and it should taste a little bit more salty than you want to eat it by itself. That's kind of my test for not any brine. Brines are super salty sometimes. Just depends how much flavor I guess you're trying to inject. This is more of a initial flavor to hit your tongue. That's why every piece of sample I cut, I try to either make it have like the whole full rim or at least a nice side piece of rub of bark. Some people ask, what is this breading that you put on it? It's just sugar and spices, sweetheart. Sugar and spices and everything nices. Alright, let those smoke for the next 13 hours. Good job, buddy. You see? Voila. Clean pan. Ready to bring out a piece of paper and serve the hot brisket tomorrow. Less to forget, more to remember. Makes sense? Just double check that nothing's backing up in here. It's sometimes little bitty pieces of pellets. Yeah. No problem. Clean flow. Sometimes pellets will be getting stuck on the ramp. If it seems dirty or clogged with little bits of pellets, but that looks great. That's exactly what you want to see. It's heating back up. That out into the compost pile. Sometimes we'll grind it up. I don't feel like it tonight because we got too much else to do. I'm gonna cook some soup next. Some chili. Oops.
Read about how he had really struggled with mental health and had suicidal ideation, like a lot of the same shit that I went through. And he just seemed like a real, like, genuine guy. So I talked to her, and she's like, I can shut him down. She got him shut down. And then a week later...
Yeah, is it 11:30 yet or what?
Yeah, like, but if he would have said no...
Dang it, yeah, it's... freaking past 11:30. That's why I started it cold. When it's a hot smoker preheated, you can run the smoker for jerky straight to an hour and a half, like if you're trying to be quick, but starting it cold with the full wrap. A little crisp, but not bad, not terrible. So I mean, mainly you're just cooking out more weight and making it potentially crispy, which is kind of a different product. So we'll come right back to, man, I wanted to connect tin still vacuum back there and wipe down the racks. So they just collect bits of like soot and grease. It's nice to wipe down the rack. And the floor underneath, it collects more bits of meat and bits of soot. Yeah, these look good. This second rack's not quite done. See how it's kind of got some white streaks. These are definitely done. Going on to like that red. Let's see these. This one looks. Still got some of that kind of light brown color. But these are more red. Pull the bottom, get to the next rack, another 5 minutes. And then every 10 minutes. Pull another level of racks, both racks, left and right. These original racks are a little bit lighter. And I think easier to hold like I've got them. By the end, the new racks are just slightly heavier where I feel a little bit more comfortable having my hand underneath. It's a little bit annoying, but just gotta get strong. Stay strong, be strong. Nice. Okay. Wrap this brisket fat. Put these gloves back because these are nasty, sooty black gloves. Pull those after we wrap the brisket.
Worst to worst. 2 years ago, I started waking up at 3 in the morning, and I went to listen. And it was so fucking scary because I knew logically I would never do that. Like I knew, like, but I couldn't stop thinking, like, go to your phone, start it.
Everything in here is so freaking loud. There's never silence inside this building. It's always smoker, compressors, compressors, compressors,
I have a wife at the
display
time.
case.
Who am I to tell your friends? Just like there's never judgment. You know, I think mental health has had a lot of stigma. I think it's getting less and less. But just find at least one person today to be like, it's this bad. And don't hold anything. Like literally be like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm playing. Because I believe what happens with people who become suicidal, or at least for me, my experience and others I've talked to, and some that I've lost, is that it's like the brain's broken. You know, I mean, literally, it's no different than like a huge car accident, but it's invisible. And so think about it, like how are you ever going to go to the hospital? How are you ever going to get the surgery? How are you ever going to get the PT if people don't see you mangled on the street? But if you're in that dark place, your brain is mangled. The neurons are not firing because it is not normal for us not to want to live. You know, and especially I had tons of friends. I mean, all these reasons. But the most important thing I did, and the most important thing anyone can do, is just reach out for help. And yes, there's great crisis text lines, and there's all this mental health, Project Help Line, one of the partners with enough, all the resources on the website. But I still think the most important thing is tell someone really close to me. I told my friends, I told my mom, and I hated that I was putting this on my mom, but I was also like, I just need to get through the next 6 months. And over time, it helps. It's a very important decision. Get off that pharmaceutical.
Oh, you're on pharmaceuticals. Why? For what?
People that I've shared. And also it's something about just talking about it, kind of takes the pressure away from it. It takes a little bit of energy.
So were you falsely diagnosed bipolar?
I think so. I mean, some people like it. Who knows? This is one of my favorite tattoos. So, if you can see this one, this is my partner and Tom's, okay, right? listening, I remember not everyone's watching this, then you should maybe we'll post a picture of this. But this is Alejo. He started talking to me. And
Wearing a beret?
What's that?
Is he wearing a beret?
Well, all these Argentine gauchos wear this hat. It's like a gaucho.
Yeah.
But anyways, he, in a very funny way, I won't tell all stories, it'll take another half an hour, but he basically spoke for 20 minutes with certainty about all the things in his life that he saw, his vision, this whole thing.
Sometimes
After
2
some
briskets
psychedelics.
makes a pack
And
bigger
then he
than
looked
this.
at me, he goes, but who knows?
Is he Argentinian?
Yeah.
That is a
Oh, I've got
very
a stamp for this now.
And the thing is, the reason I tattooed it on my forearm is I think it's like one of the, like it's literally like the Buddha talking to me. It's like so smart. Because it's like, we don't know. I don't know why I got depressed, but I know that it led to my next purpose. You know? I don't know why I was in this relationship, but it led to me having kids. You know, like who knows if it's good or bad, you know? And so for me, I don't know. I really look at life with just a marvel now, and to not be, and now that's what goes for people's journeys. Like someone difficult in your life, or maybe someone's not treating you well, or whatever. Like, who knows why?
Do you think it's hard to be in a relationship with a founder?
I think it's a hard to be in a relationship with me.
Do you?
Maybe not so anymore. I think at a different period of my life it
I like
was. I
that.
mean, I think it was very hard to be in a relationship with me when I was building and growing Toms, because it was my first love. You know, I mean, it really was. I mean, they're just, you know, we were traveling around the world. I mean, she was a kid. I was getting
Perfect.
external
That's
validation that
not
someone
even
could never
in.
feel enough needed. So I was getting, you know, and you know, it's hard to get a relationship because the relationship has up. You get to pick the garbage out. You're late for dinner.
Why is
You're not exactly getting
there's
external
something like
validation.
this?
But if you're getting outside, the founder, especially if you have
Some of the things they did that I'm still finding 18 months later is like just unreal. Anyway, that's it. We're done. Let's pull the next jerky, and that's a totally different topic. So that is brisket.